podcast contains adult themes and language. The views expressed here are our own opinions and experiences. We are not medical professionals.
In this podcast, we discuss our opinions about mental health, sobriety, addiction, and our pursuit of happiness and peace. This is Sober Mind.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Kind of helps to turn the microphones
Yeah.
on.
Got to unmute. My name is John,
I'm Judy.
and this is Sober Mind. Here we have grown folk conversations about mental health, sobriety, our spiritual and mental health adventures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adventures, that's a good word.
All that good stuff. It has been a very interesting week for the both of us.
Yes, most definitely.
Good morning, Marcus. I'm Marcus. Marcus, I was just about to ping you, and I noticed you had your notifications on silence. I told Judy, I'm like, that son of a bitch sleeps way too long. Okay. But yes, now my heart is complete for the day. Good morning, Lee.
Morning, Lee.
Okay. You ready for gratitude? Do you have one ready to go?
I do.
Okay, do you want to go?
Yeah.
Have at it.
So my brother-in-law Guy sends me affirmations, spiritual affirmations every morning on text. And this morning was very poignant to what I've been going through. And it just helped me to understand a little bit more of why I was having these episodes that were coming up the past day and a half. And I'm just really grateful that he sends those to me, because sometimes they just hit home when I need them to hit home, and they've been very beneficial to me. And I'm very grateful that he takes the time out to send those out.
Yeah. He does that for not just you. He does it for a bunch of his friends and family that are in recovery. He sends out a daily. So it's very nice of him.
Yeah. And I'm very grateful he does that.
Yeah. 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 I see you reading those every day and put you into a moment of deep thought, which is good. Okay. My gratitude is I am so grateful to be able to start healing myself.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do a ketamine update this morning as well. We're going to talk about that pretty extensively, but I'm just glad that I'm in a position to where I'm able to do this. What does that mean really when I was thinking about this today? Financially, we're in a good spot. We're not rich by any stretch of the measures, but
logistically we can do it.
Logistically, we can do stuff. We've been sober for almost 3 years. Coming up August. Hold on, check my tattoo for the facts. August 30th.
August 30th. Yep.
2021 is when was our first day of sobriety. And as you know, it's been a tumultuous journey at times.
Yes. It's had its ups and downs, that's for sure.
Yeah. We talk about this a lot, and that is that, don't expect maybe unicorn farts and rainbows.
No.
Right after sobriety, because
there are some benefits that you reap initially when you first get sober, physically mostly. Your sleep gets better, you feel better physically. It's just the mental stuff that's just swamps you, and that you're kind of forced to deal with now, all that stuff that you suppressed when you were drinking and doing drugs. It's stuff you now have to face and pay attention to.
Yep. Good morning, Joe. Yeah, so anyway, so that was my long gratitude. I'm thankful to be the joyous ketamine therapy, not sponsored by the way, has been. Do I embellish sometimes?
No, because I think you're pretty accurate. I mean, it's been very beneficial. It's been fantastic.
But I mean, I embellish sometimes when I try to describe something because I like to.
You're just extra descriptive.
Yeah. But this has been, I don't know what the catchy adjective for it should be. It has been groundbreaking for me.
Yes.
So I'm 2 weeks into it, and I've had highs, lows, and the majority of it has been a very happy, neutral disposition for me. So Judy and I have started listening to hypnotherapy while we're taking the medication and doing our 45-minute to 1 hour meditation, and it has been soul-shattering almost.
I think it's a good thing to have the two together.
It is.
I don't think anybody who goes into doing ketamine therapy should do it without any kind of guided meditation or silent moment or anything. I mean, it even recommends that you set aside 20 minutes to really think about that intent and just that. And I don't think that it'd be beneficial if you just took it and went about your day.
On the joyous forums that I check out once in a while, there's some people that are expressing their views of having a negative experience with it, and it's because they're not doing the program of how it was designed. Like this guy was on there and he says, I went to work and I took the medication, and then next thing you know, I was rolling around on the floor crying and security had to escort me out. Like, what do you do? What are you doing? I mean, I feel don't do that. That's okay.
They even say right there on the website how to deal with it.
Well,
it's not good to take it before you go driving. It's not good to take it, at work or anything.
Yeah. I mean, you have to, it puts you into a mindset to where you are, I don't want to say disassociated. It's not, it's because at the dosage that we do, it's not anything like that. But it is, your brain definitely just wants to be its brain.
Yeah. You turn very introspective.
Yeah. So.
Which that's the key is to work on your stuff.
Yeah. So let me let me highlight the buzzwords I threw out there. I had the highs and the lows. So hold on, the highs, let me tone that word down. I don't have any highs. I have got a very stable mood lately. So before, when I was, I don't know if it's over or not, but dealing with my borderline mania, bipolar 2-ish episodes that I would have, it would be when I would get excited in a manic state, I would get happy to the sense to where I was too happy. I knew I was too happy. This didn't happen a lot, especially as I've gotten older, but when it did, I knew that there was a depressive episode coming.
Yeah, you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah, and I think that falls in line with the Huberman clip that we're going to watch today about for a peak of a dopamine high, you're going to get the trough of that as well.
It's a lot like caffeine.
Yeah, like caffeine. So anyway, the negatives or the lows that I'm talking about, they're not lows. They are experiences that we've had to go through. So I had the one day where it was just like, fuck.
Yeah.
I had a borderline depressive episode during the meditation. And it wasn't until the next day when I realized, oh, my brain and spirit are going through something. You can't dig up the past and expect there not to be a lot of dirt.
Yeah.
Catchphrase by John Lund. I'm claiming it right now. I just made that up on the fly.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about you in a moment.
Fair enough.
So I've been waiting sort of for this forum to share your experience. Went through the revelation period, and then I was in a really good spot as the nurses increased my dosage. Now I started at 15 milligrams. Now I'm at 75. I'm starting to think that this might be my sweet spot. I know they're going to do one more elevation, but then I'll figure out, should I just drop that back down maybe to 60 and stay there? Because for me, this is right now, without knowing any better, this seems perfect for me. Because it puts me into a real transitory meditative state, and it really allows me to work on myself. So I had a revelation today again. Judy walked in and caught me crying profusely. I didn't know
you weren't profusely crying.
It wasn't profusely?
No.
Felt like it.
No.
Well, it was...
It was more of a whimper.
Well, okay. Maybe that was the tail end of my...
It could have been because I was in the shower for the other part.
Of the shit that I was going through. Yeah. So, I'm not going to bore everyone with the introspection and all the things that we see and talk about within our journeys of this. But look, we all go through stuff in life. You and I have said this before. If there's something out there that we stand behind that works, we want to tell people about it. So the reason I started to investigate low dose ketamine therapy was because I had another depressive episode, and it lasted for 3 weeks, and I cannot have this in my life anymore. And this seems to have not just like negated the symptoms of it. It just like said, you're not depressed anymore.
You don't have to worry about this
anymore. Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
We're moving past it. And I was like, oh, is that what's happening right now? Yeah. So it feels good. Yeah. Now, let's talk about you, Judith. You are here. I wrote down my phrase so that day that was happening to me, the first 2 days where I was having the lows of the rebirth and everything.
Yeah.
That's what it is for me. Ozzy, quiet. Ozzy's over here growling at nothing.
Yeah,
So let me cue it up.
Okay.
If you don't mind. Just ignore him. No one can hear him, my baby thing. I think because your headphones, you can hear it externally. It's louder. Anyway. So starting yesterday around noonish, you just went off into a not so happy place for the day.
Yeah.
You want to talk about it?
Sure. Yeah.
You were poopy pants.
I was in a state of anger and frustration, and it was very much okay. I'm gonna say this now, but I'll tell you when I actually realized this was after this. But I was very much in a child tantrum type of state. I wanted to throw things. Nothing was making me happy. And then when I go to work on something and so the smallest thing would go wrong, or, something that was so minor that I could easily blow off, I would just go into a rage. I was trying to deal with all of these emotions and didn't know why I was so frustrated. I didn't know why I was so angry. I didn't know why every little thing was just driving me absolutely crazy until this morning when I was getting ready to go get on the bike, and I was thinking about why am I so angry? Why is this bothering me? What kind of anger is this? And the answer that came back to me goes, this is a child anger. And I immediately thought about all the times that I would feel this when I was a little girl. And I thought, okay, so now that I know that this is coming from something in my past, this anger is something that my inner child is very, very upset about, and they're throwing a fit. And I haven't addressed this in my adult life. So now I have to deal with it because going through this ketamine therapy, it's bringing all of this stuff up that I have suppressed for a very long time.
Yeah.
When I was a child, when my parents got divorced, I was 5, and I was very unhappy. I was absolutely miserable. I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't understand why they were getting a divorce. I thought I was part of the problem. Even though they told me I was not the problem, I still thought I was part of the problem. And I kept wanting them to get back together, and I didn't understand why they couldn't. Because their excuses, which is what I thought they were, didn't make sense to me.
And so this is coming back to you now.
So all of these feelings that I had when I was a child have all started to come back within the past day and a half, because that's what it feels like to me. That's what this specific anger and rage feels like, was when I was 5 and I didn't understand why things were happening. And I was very angry and very hurt. So that's what's manifesting right now. And I didn't realize it until I was getting ready to get on my bike and go for my ride this morning. And it said, this is childhood anger. I don't know where that answer came from, but I had put it out there and said, I don't know where this is coming from. Why am I feeling this way? And that's when I got the answer that said, this is childhood anger. And all of those memories flushed back in. And I was like, oh, okay. Got it now. So it's nice to be able to recognize those and to be able to realize where this anger is coming from instead of just feeling angry.
Yeah. Yes.
So now I know what to work on.
Yeah. You have held on to this. That's a traumatic thing that you've...
Since I was 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the audience knows you're in your early 50s.
Yeah. That was 50 plus years ago.
Yeah. Trauma manifests itself in a lot of different ways. And I think you went through that, and it just sort of, it put a brand on you. It just imprinted itself, and it's pretty profound. It was
one of the major traumas in my life.
Yeah. Well,
I gave my stepmother shit. Oh, yeah. Man, I tormented that woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor Gail.
I know. Poor Gail.
Well, you're working through it, and
yeah, this is something that now I know what I can work on. Yeah. Now I know why I'm experiencing these things, because they came on all of a sudden. I mean, yesterday morning I was fine. I was happy. I was cheering you guys on while you were moving the lumber because I couldn't move it because of my arm, but I was fine. I was good. And then all of a sudden it just took a turn with a quickness.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, I am fit to be tied, ready to go into a tantrum. I wanted to throw things.
I know. And though when you're like that, it's difficult for me because I don't like you to be there, first of all, because I feel bad and feel bad for various reasons. But I also don't understand how to rescue you because I'm a rescuer. And
You can't fix it, unfortunately.
Yeah. And yesterday you got progressively more
and
pissy
more and more and more.
throughout the day.
Yes, I did.
And I love you very much. And it's hard for me to just sit back and try to detach. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, it's a hard thing. Even though I got more pissy throughout the day.
Did you apologize to Dad for snapping at him?
I haven't apologized to him yet. Sorry, Dad. I try to temper it as much as possible. If I had just gave it free rein, there would have been a scene.
Yeah, I think you know better. We both do.
Yes, it doesn't solve anything.
Yeah, Lee says, oh, hello, Canada. A guy named Kim. That was a tough one. Good morning. Welcome to the show. Thank you for tuning in from Canada. And Lee says, that's good insight, Judy. I have that anger too. Definitely the helpless, angry child.
Yeah, very much so. It's because you are at 5 years old. You're very helpless. You're at the power and mercy of your parents.
Yeah.
And when your stability, your foundation gets torn apart, I was very upset, very angry, very hurt.
Yeah, it tears the fabric.
And so I suppressed that for a long time.
Yep.
Apparently.
Because
once I realized that was that's child anger, all of those memories came back. Just flooded my whole brain with all of those memories.
Yeah.
I remember one time I went to Disneyland with my we called him Papa Ali, was our grandfather. And I was in such a snit that now he loved me. He thought I was just adorable. And well, he loved all his grandchildren. And I was in such a snit and was causing such a problem that even he was like, I can't deal with her anymore. She has gone off the rails.
Yeah, you get the spice in you sometimes.
Yeah, and there's nobody can say or do anything that would appease me at all because I am bound and determined to be in a snit.
Yeah. Well, you recognized it. You're going to start to work on those things.
Yes, most definitely. Because I do not like that. That's a very uncomfortable feeling. It's like an itchy wool sweater, and it's not something I want. It's not me.
Yeah.
It's not the happy Judy me that I like.
Me too.
I can imagine. I don't think anybody would like that.
Well, Joe says, I'm going to copyright that. You can't dig up the past without expecting to get a little dirt on you.
That's true.
So, anyway, we'll just keep on with the therapy. I'm a firm believer in this. I'm extremely sold.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks in, and I meet with the nurse practitioner, I think in a week or so, and we'll talk about where I'm at with the dose and what the expectations are next. And then so the experience for everyone for the low dose ketamine therapy is different for everybody. Some people do it for a month and then they're good. Or I don't know how they study these statistics.
Yeah. Some people do it for 3 months and they're fine. Some people do it and then they go off of it for a while and then they have a traumatic issue in their life.
Yeah.
And they go back on it for a little while to get through that traumatic issue and process those feelings. And then, it's not, they don't do this to have you on it for the rest of your life. They do this so that you can work through what you're going through and then you don't need it anymore.
Well, some people do.
Some people do
like a weekly maintenance dose.
Yeah.
I imagine I'll be in that bucket. I'm just look, don't take what I say to heart because nothing has ever held true for my predictions for the future. But I don't know. I imagine I'll be doing this 4 to 5 months and then I'll be in a maintenance period or something like that. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know. I cannot. it's been so revealing and so different for my spirit, soul, and brain for all of this. And that is that every day I go into this meditation, hypnosis with sort of an expectation that it was going to be like yesterday, but every day is wildly different.
You know, one of the side effects that I think it was really beneficial for me, and I think it is for you too, now we can go into meditation without being on ketamine, and we can have a really good meditative session.
Yes.
Just on our own,
Yep.
without having to have the ketamine to help.
Yeah, I did that yesterday.
Yeah.
So it's good stuff. I don't know. I digressed, I think, from the recommendation, but if you're struggling with depression and anxiety and you have long-term stuff, or if you just want to get to a point to where you could really, this is a depression treatment. So anyway,
Yeah,
go
if
check
you're
it out.
if you're having issues with depression, I would highly recommend doing some research on it.
Yeah. Joyous, Joyous, Joyous ketamine therapy, not sponsored. Okay. So you're in a gooder spot.
I'm better than yesterday. I still feel it there, but I'm able to look. One of the things that Guy sent me today is to, it's not. Judy, remember Missy Pissy? Yes, I do remember Missy Pissy.
Good morning, Maggie. Good morning, Michelle. And then Michelle says, "Good morning. I'm a bit late to the party. Judy, remember Missy Pissy?" Yeah, I guess that was that you?
No, that was Michelle.
Oh, okay.
When she was having her episodes,
Yeah.
we would call her Missy Pissy because she was being pissy. But anyway,
Pissy's a lightweight word for Michelle's wrath.
Anyway,
Michelle's grown so much too.
Yeah. Guy sent one this morning that had to deal with not worrying about the future, not stressing about the past, but living for the moment. And then he also sent some scriptures, and it just helped me to realize that, okay, this has been put in my life so that I can work through it and move forward into a more happier state of being.
Yeah.
So I was like thinking to myself, okay, well, now I know what to deal with. Now I know how to work on it, and now I can move forward.
And that's the key to a lot of this. That's the solution.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move past this. That's a long update, but I'm really, really pleased and relieved and surprised and just happy. I feel like I have gotten back the last 15 years of my fucking life.
Yeah.
I'm not embellishing on this. Within a period of 3 or 4 days of this treatment, 1 hour a day, I feel
whole new person.
The cloud lifted. I'm able to articulate my inner thoughts. I'm able to address myself. Oh, you want to share Judy and I are going to share something kind of revealing, but we're not going to give you all the details because it's very personal.
Wait. What are we doing?
And it's no one's business. You'll catch on to it. You'll be right.
Okay.
So the other thing with this was we were listening to the hypnotherapy of letting go of regret, letting go of grief,
and shame,
and guilt. And well, I think it was prior to that. Anyway, Judy had a revelation where he says she got it. She came out of it and she said, "Hey, I gotta tell you something from my past. Secret time." Yeah, and then just did a sort of a confession about something.
Yeah.
And then 1 or 2 days later, I was doing that same hypnotherapy, and it just, I had to tell her, I came out of it. I was happy, but frustrated and ashamed and embarrassed, but I was letting that stuff go. And I had to tell her, I just had to tell her about a lie that I told her many years ago and sort of perpetuated, but we're not going to share any of our details because it's no one's fucking business. No, it wasn't anything around infidelity. Neither one of us. It wasn't that.
No. Mine was something I did when I was 9 years old, so it's not.
Anyway. We'll move. But so that's how powerful this thing has been. I don't want to scare anyone away like, oh shit, man, I'm going to take this and it's going to turn into some truth serum. I don't know. Look, if you have things that you really need to work through and let go of in your life, again, your things might get a little bit dirty.
Yep.
So,
but you know what? The feeling of relief after you say those things and get them off your chest and acknowledge them is monumental.
Yeah. Big time. I love you.
Love you too.
And then I should have said what you said to me, because Judy goes, it's okay. Be at peace. And basically my soul just took a massive shit right then and threw up.
I'm glad it wasn't literal, because you were laying in bed and that would have been awkward.
So highly recommend. Anything else you want to talk about on our ketamine journey?
No.
You did not do yours this morning because you didn't want to interrupt me. So you'll do the meditation after the show
and work on my my stuff.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're gonna jump into watching a Huberman clip. Hold on, let's check out the chat real quick. Mom says, your inner loving parent can be very helpful in your human revolution. Yeah.
Yes, it can.
Yep, it can.
That's only if you know about that. If you don't know about that, if you don't know how to be your inner loving adult, that's a hard road to hoe.
Yeah. And I keep saying again, apologies, but again, that's the benefit of this deep meditation is that you are healing yourself, which is so miraculous. The manifestation of what we're doing inside of our head during this time is so powerful. Look, it's what people have done for millennia, but I think with the advent of all the digital information we get, our brains are fucking turning into mush anymore, and we don't. It's really difficult for our ADD lifestyle to be able to meditate like this. So, you know what? Shit. Maybe what we're doing is not revolutionary. There might be a monk watching this. Hello, monk. And he's like, bitch, I've been meditating
all my life. Where you been?
Yeah. I don't need any medication to help me along. In fact, I float across the universe into your dreams, homie. I don't know if that's how monks talk, but in my world, they
don't think so, but okay.
But
that's fine.
But you know what I mean? I think so. Being able to put ourselves into this primitive state, I think, is super, super powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, my blackout continues on my tattoo, by the way. This thing is super swollen. Look at that. There's like fluid built up in there, but this is part of my metamorphosis. Feels good. Okay. We will jump into the Dr. Andrew Huberman clip.
Love Huberman.
I love Huberman too. I don't think Kim and Brian are on today, but he is a PhD doctor. I think out of Stanford University.
I think so, yeah.
He does what I call bro therapy.
Therapy?
Yeah, it's you'll see. He kind of let's just be transparent about this. A lot of the things that some people watch on the internet or whatever, they're not for everybody. Dr. Huberman is good, but I think he kind of spins a tale sometimes to where it's like, this is the solution. And it's like, is there any counterpoint to that? No?
It's a one size fits all, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, let's jump into it. Here we go.
So how can we overcome procrastination? Well, it turns out that there are findings from within the addiction literature that turn out to be very powerful towards leveraging our way out of procrastination. And it has to do with this. You already know, because I've told you probably a dozen times now, that the depth of the trough after a dopamine peak is proportional to how high that peak was and how steep it was, how quickly that peak occurred. It turns out that not only is the depth of the trough proportional to that, but the rate at which you get out of that trough is proportional to how steep that trough is.
Oh boy.
Let me explain this for you in as clear terms as I possibly can. Imagine you're in an amotivated state. You're just not feeling motivated. You're procrastinating. You may think, okay, the thing to do here is something. I'll clean the house. I'll take care of some bills. I'll do something. Or I'll just wait. Those approaches, as we talked about before, generally don't work, or at least don't work quickly. Or they lead you right up to the deadline, and that's the deadline that forces you to get something done. Or you just don't get it done and you don't succeed in your goal. That happens a lot as well. However, if you were to take that state of being unmotivated, of procrastinating, and actually do something that's harder than being in that amotivated state, in other words, doing something that's more effortful, even painful, you can rebound yourself out of that dopamine trough much more quickly. So what do I mean? You want to put yourself in a state that's worse than or harder than the state that you're in, or do something quote unquote more painful. And here I want to be very clear. I'll say this 3 times, but I'm going to say it for the first time now. When I say more painful, I do not mean doing any kind of tissue damaging or psychologically damaging behavior or anything of that sort that's going to render you injured or not well, even in the short term. That's not what I'm referring to. Okay, let's just get that one out of the way. What I'm referring to is the fact that, for instance, if you're feeling amotivated, but you find yourself cleaning the house as a way to procrastinate, you can say, well, cleaning the house is harder than sitting down and doing nothing. But actually, in that moment or in those moments, that's not the case, or else you wouldn't be doing it. The reality is that the dopamine system works according to what feels hard or easy in the moment. In other words, if you're...
So I just got, hold on, sorry for the interruption. I just got the warning on our stream stats. This is heads up. We've detected a video in your stream belonging to someone else with copyright stuff. See?
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's why it might have gotten interrupted in the past, where it just completely crashed the stream. I don't know.
You're feeling amotivated, you need to do something and put yourself into a state that's harder than the state you're in. So for instance, if you're sitting around feeling amotivated, or you find yourself tending to tasks that are irrelevant to the goal that you really should be focused on, you need to put your body and mind into a state of discomfort quickly. And the way to do that is to either engage in some tangential activity, meaning an activity not related to your goal that puts your body into a very different state. So here again, I'll default to the obvious one, which is something like cold shower or cold immersion, which not only increases dopamine long-term, or over several hours rather, but for most people is experienced as pain. That pain causes a rebound out of that dopamine trough faster than it would occur or done something like cleaning up that for whatever reason felt like it required less friction. When I say friction, I mean limbic friction. Your limbic system is always in this dialogue with your forebrain. And limbic friction goes 2 ways. Limbic friction can be you're tired and you don't want to do something. And so you have to, quote unquote, motivate to do it, energize yourself to do it. Or limbic friction can be that you're nervous and scared and anxious to do something, and you have to calm yourself in order to lean forward into action in order to do that thing despite the anxiety. I realize this can be a little bit confusing as a concept, so I want to go into a bit more detail. Let's imagine that you or somebody else does not like to exercise. You don't want to exercise, and you're trying to get your minimum of 5 days per week exercise, and you're just not motivated to do it. There are a couple of different techniques to doing this. Assuming you've taken care of all the baseline stuff, all the foundational stuff we talked about earlier, and you're just not getting in gear, and you find yourself, checking your phone, or maybe you're tending to some tasks. Obviously, those things are quote unquote easier for you, meaning they cause less limbic friction than engaging in exercise. The typical advice would be just exercise for 1 minute. Okay, just get 1 minute of exercise, or 5 minutes, and then use the successful completion of that 1 or 5 minutes as a milestone that allows you to then move to the next milestone. And indeed, that approach can work. And it's exactly what I'm describing here when I say that you're in a state of lack of motivation or procrastination or both. And
So how does that resonate so far?
I kind of get the concept. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because this morning was a perfect example. I did not want to go for a bike ride. Did not. And once I motivated myself, got my clothes on, went and turned the bike on and started pedaling, I came right out and I was like, okay, this is fine. I'm not in that
The funk.
Yeah, the funk. Because I actually initiated just taking that step over the procrastination, the not wanting to do anything, just taking that one first step, getting my clothes on, taking the next step, going into the workout room, turning the bike on, taking the next step, putting my shoes on, and just progressing that way, even though I really didn't want to. Once I was able to get on the bike and start pedaling, it was much easier.
Yeah.
And all of that procrastination and not wanting to do that just went away.
Yeah. They seem like such simple solutions in the moment, but our little lizard brain doesn't want to get to these stages.
This was another portion where my inner child was like, I do not want to do this, and was wanting to throw a fit.
Yeah, this principle or philosophy or practice, whatever you want to call it, is so basic that anyway, for me, and especially people with depression, what he says, put yourself into a position that's more painful. Again, don't go cutting yourself or whatever.
Yeah, in more of a figurative light.
Yeah, or discomfortable or uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Disconcerting. Just go do that, and just that little spike of dopamine your brain will start to upregulate itself in a sense that let me explain. This is tough to articulate. That's why we'll let the PhD do it more in a second. But in the morning I set my alarm for 5 a.m. and I get up and I lace on my shoes, lace on Ozzy's gear, and we go for a run. A lately grueling, super fast 5K run.
In the humidity.
And it fucking sucks. I don't like it. But that is me taking myself and putting myself into a position that's uncomfortable versus if I want to at the time. If I want to sleep in until 7 o'clock, I want to lay there and be lazy and not do anything. At 7 o'clock, you've seen me do this. I will be a sobbing pile of fucking goo. I will not be motivated. I will not be happy.
This doesn't necessarily mean that everybody is going to be like this.
No.
There's a lot of people who are out there who can motivate themselves, who can go through these and not have to suffer the procrastination because their dopamine doesn't drop into that trough as deep as other people.
Yeah. But the act of setting those rigorous schedules has been proven to be extremely beneficial to our overall morning growth cycle, which is it kind of sets you up for your routine. The one principle that you and I do follow from Huberman is we wake up and we drink a glass of salt water.
A large glass.
A large glass of lukewarm salt water. It really kickstarts your metabolism and your adrenal gland in a good way.
Yeah, and when you're sleeping, you're not drinking any fluids.
Yeah.
So by the time you wake up, even though you may not be thirsty, you are dehydrated.
Yeah. And this is an excellent electrolyte, like fast electrolyte replacement process. And then, especially in the summer, the cold shower process is something else that I've found extremely beneficial.
Not so much in the winter because that's cold.
Yeah. So taking the cold shower, that puts us into like a fight process too. It's uncomfortable. It's borderline painful because you're in a sense to where your brain's like, I do not like this at all. You're about to freeze to death, bro.
but it knocks you out of
it knocks you out of it.
Of any kind of lethargic, deep path that you're in.
So like a 1 to 2 minute cold shower, they have proven that it increases dopamine regulation by like 400%.
And it's sustainable.
So
it sustains you through quite a while.
Yeah. And
it's not just a spike and then it goes back down again.
Yeah. But these, okay, like Lee says, breaking the task into parts, just do 10 minutes of it. I found that worked for me. But I like the concept of doing the cold shower, uncomfortable thing. Yeah. Okay, so let me back up. When you're in a wildly depressive state, I posted a short about this a couple weeks ago. And be careful with what you tell people. Someone is super depressed. They're having a real bad chemical dysregulation system in their head. Don't say, just go take a cold shower. That's not going to fix it, and they don't want to fucking hear that. So I caution you. People have said that on my YouTube comments, like, bro, just go take a cold shower. Like,
just go do some yoga.
Just downward dog your way out of it. It doesn't work for everybody.
No.
But yeah, Lee.
It does work for some people, but.
Yeah. So that's been my challenge to people I got from another psychotherapist, and that is when you don't want to do something, set a timer and go do it for 5 minutes. Just give yourself 5 minutes. If that, we can give examples all day, but if that means going for a run, then tell yourself, I'm gonna start this process. I'm gonna set a timer for 5 minutes and lace up your shoes, 2 minutes, grab your dog leash or whatever, walk out the door. And if at that time it's 5 minutes and you don't want to continue the activity, then I implore you to try to go sit back down. Because more than likely, you're going to just keep following through with the motion.
Yeah.
And then it's going to have the obvious benefit for you. So this is why I saw it from another psychotherapist, especially for elderly people. This is why we have sort of a guide for dad to follow. He's in his early 80s, Judy's dad. And we have witnessed him in the past years get into a habit to where he'll wake up, he'll read the paper, then he'll migrate down into his apartment, and then he'll sit in a chair and he'll get on his phone and he'll stay there for hours on end. And used to. We encouraged him and really challenged him, kicking and screaming sometimes, where we said, hey, after your paper, go downstairs. Don't just sit down and start to stare at another distraction. Or if you do that for, even better is go sit at your desk on your computer to where your head is up and you've got more daylight streaming in, all the basic stuff.
But the best thing to do is either go take a shower or go put your shoes on and go for a walk.
Yes. So because that, especially for elderly folks, that breaks that cycle of slipping into this mode of fuck.
Yeah.
It's, okay, let me get in the shower because dad doesn't like to, it's uncomfortable. I don't know why. So he gets in the shower. I've noticed, we notice he's, market difference. Like he's up, he's motivated.
He's ready to go.
He's doing
ready to
stuff.
Do his chores and he has a checklist that he does all of his checklist and he gets that done. And then he's able to reward himself later on with sitting down and reading his book that he's very interested in, or getting on the computer and playing freestyle. But he's motivated himself.
Yeah. And that's
he's kept himself moving.
So again, especially for the elderly, this is key because I can't remember what the study is, so I'm not going to quote any numbers, but they've shown that the more that we do this, especially with digital technology, of this slumping down and putting our head like this, it gives you the blues. It's bad for your posture.
Yeah, not only physically is it bad for you, but mentally it is also bad for you.
Yeah, and it's like, well, I'm bummed out. I don't know why. Well, because we're human beings. We're not designed to do this shit. Just stare at an illusion. We're supposed to get up, go hunt. Gather our
supposed
food.
To be active people.
Start a fire, fucking kick ass, man.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yes. But
you need to put.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, but sometimes you just have to take that first step. As I love quoting this from Dr. Martin Luther King, you don't have to see the whole staircase. You just have to see the first step. You just have to take that first step.
I love that. I love that.
Put yourself into a more painful, not less painful state. So what do? You push up against that friction and you exercise for a short while, and then that pops you out of that trough. That's possible, but for a lot of people, even that won't be possible because they just can't get motivated, or they do that 1 minute or 5 minutes and they're just like, okay, I'm still in the trough. I'm not actually feeling that great. In those circumstances, it makes sense to do something that's tangential to the whole path that you're trying to pursue, this goal that you're trying to pursue. That is, believe it or not, much worse than just being amotivated. And when I say worse, I don't mean picking some task that normally you don't like to do, but now you're willing to do. I mean, literally thinking about what would be worse than being in this state. Again, without causing yourself tissue or psychological damage. What would be worse? Well, cold water would be worse for many people, very cold water.
Boom.
So the key is to figure out something that, for lack of a better way to put it, really sucks. Really sucks, and yet is safe. And by doing that, you steepen the trough. You steepen the slope of the trough, which we know brings you back to your baseline level of dopamine more quickly. Now, for some people, that will be deliberate cold exposure through cold shower, ice bath. And I have to tell you that if you're cringing as I say this, well, then there you go. You now have a tool that you know you cringe even when you just think about, and therefore represents a great tool for you. So if I'm procrastinating to do something I really need to do, should I just simply wait for that procrastination to evaporate? No. Will it eventually evaporate? Maybe. Will a deadline eventually surface that will trigger me into an anxious or activated state that will allow me to complete what needs to be done? Maybe. Hopefully. But better would be to get out of that amotivated state, that state of procrastination, quickly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing revolutionary, but very, very profound sometimes.
Yeah, especially when you're going through deep depressive states or when you're going through recovery.
Yeah.
Those are very beneficial little tools to have in your toolbox to help you get through tough times. There's a lot of times when I was initially going through recovery that I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to do recovery. I didn't want to do, things that would help me. I just wanted to hide in my books, or I just wanted to go into hermit mode and not do anything and not talk to anybody and not progress as I should in my life.
Yeah.
And taking those initial steps to get out of my comfort zone, because that was a comfort for me at that time, and move forward, even if it's just a couple inches, just taking that step to move forward was very hard, but very beneficial.
Yeah.
Because once you start moving, for me, once I started moving, I was okay.
Yeah. I used to get this sort of task overload paralysis a lot. A good example is when you would go up to Michigan on an 4 or 5 day trip, and you would leave me some projects to do.
Mm-hmm. The honey-do list.
Yeah. It is so difficult for people to understand this, maybe, and that is that I look at that list, it's all shit that I can do, but because there's a list of all these things to do, I can't start.
You get overwhelmed.
I get paralyzed by it.
Mm-hmm.
So now that I'm thinking about this, in the future, just put one thing on the list, and then the next day say, is that done? Yeah. And I'll say, yes, ma'am. I kid, but then just say, here's another thing to do. Okay. I'm starting to learn that about myself. Maybe I can do 1,000 things, but I just need it one line at a time.
Either that, or I could write a list and then you just take a piece of paper and put it over top of the rest of the list. So the only thing you see is the...
No, because that's a surprise thing too. I can't handle that.
Oh, okay.
I'll just have to look at it all and then cover it back up. And that's part of the ADHD brain too, with weird motivation.
Definitely, yeah. I also get into the analysis paralysis of
yeah.
analysis. Yeah.
Yeah. Because now that I got all of those tasks, now it's turned into a tornado of all of these things that have to get done, and I can't dissect them. I say I can't, but I think I'm starting to change from the ketamine therapy as well. I've noticed my attention span in 2 weeks has gotten, when I use the word like a normal person, everyone forgive me, because that's sort of my benchmark. I feel like a normal person. I don't know what normal is, but
Yeah,
I feel a lot better.
I found that I'm not spinning in a circle.
Yeah. Dad told me yesterday he notices a huge difference too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do too.
Hey, I want to take a minute to tell you that I love you very much.
Oh, thank you. I love you too.
Thank you. I'm very proud of you, and I'm very proud of me, and
Thank you.
I'm impressed by our continued growth and just overall journey that we're going through.
Yeah, and our continued drive to want to grow.
Yeah.
I think that's very impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the things to help with procrastination that we got from Dr. Huberman are very, 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 very beneficial, just to kick yourself out of that state. Because there's been many times that I've wanted to procrastinate, but I've found ways to kick myself out of that and move forward, even if it's uncomfortable. It's only uncomfortable for a few minutes.
Yeah.
It's not uncomfortable for the rest of your life. That's the one thing that I tell myself is this is only a few minutes of out of my whole life. This is not, this is not major.
Yep. Good morning, Wendy. And we got someone new join the chat, Johnny. That reminds me of saying action equals motivation. Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Yeah.
And then vice versa. And then motivation equals action. And it just kind of, again, I don't want to, some folks might look at this and go, well, yeah, no shit. But I got two different paradigms here. That is for the regular person that needs a kick to motivate themselves a little bit, then go. Some people are just good at this. Some people are not.
Yeah.
But then there's the other paradigm, and that is the mental health person, such as me, that when we're in a depressive state, motivation is fucking wildly unattainable.
Yeah. Well, weren't you talking about the one episode that you watched on YouTube about a doctor describing one of his patients was so depressed that even just getting up on his elbows in bed was a step.
Yeah, they were.
So some people go through such deep depression for long periods of time where even the cold shower doesn't help.
Right.
Because there's nothing out there that can get them to get out of that trough.
Yeah. Those are deep chemical imbalances that have to be looked at. Yeah, so that was I forget his name, but he says there's times when he'd have to call people and they'd be like, I can't get out of bed, and he would say, just sit up on your elbows.
Yeah.
Take that step, and then when you can do that, sit completely up in your bed. And sorry, I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at the fact that a couple of years ago when I was on Prozac and I was in that super depressive state,
something that's supposed to get you out of that depressive state.
Yeah. So, all right, I think we have demolished that dead horse.
Exhausted the topic for the day.
Yeah. So yeah, and then Johnny says he's been lurking for a while here. Love the channel. First time to catch one live. Well, welcome to it, man.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. We just hit 1.04 million views on the channel. We crossed the 4,000 mark threshold yesterday.
Yeah.
We got 4,020 subscribers, which is phenomenal. So
yes, very happy about that.
yeah, if you like this channel, like and subscribe, share it with a friend or someone. Let them know, hey, we got these two people down in the United States of America, Missouri, just sitting in their basement talking about their wackiness.
Yeah.
Just sharing.
And for those of you who have been on the show for a long period of time, we may start going over topics that we talked about before. And that's just because there's some people that may not have
Yeah.
seen them, and sometimes it wasn't just the two of us talking about the topic. So we may be starting to repeat some of the topics, but I think a lot of them are very important and need to be retouched on, just to get us back into
Yeah.
the right frame of mind.
Yeah, Judy mentioned the other day, she goes, how about we talk about this? And I said, well, we already did. But, you know, with the new format with just Judy and I think we're able to attain much more intimate, detailed conversations about what we're trying to relate to everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's always going to be new and fresh for everyone's entertainment. But, you know, what you see is what you get.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry.
See, no edits. You caught me walking around earlier because my mouse battery's dying. I had to get closer to the receiver. It'll never be a sober mind broadcast without a technology issue.
No, but that's okay.
Okay.
That is okay.
That is okay. Life is good.
Life is good.
All right, we're going to wrap it up. Anything else you want to talk about, baby doll?
No, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in and being part of our journey with us, and
be kind to yourselves.
Be patient with yourself.
You are loved. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend. We will see you next time. Bye-bye. I was just gonna comment about Lee's comment, and I'm not muted. Lee, thank you so much. Now I'm gonna go on mute. Bye.